Sarah. As you probably saw, I have an intro now, and I also have an outro now, which you won't see yet. You'll see that at the end. So that's pretty exciting. That's the biggest change to my channel so far. So that's pretty exciting. I'm really enjoying doing these videos. I really like being able to kind of talk about my writing regularly, and even though I'm not moving as quickly as I'd like to be, I do like being held accountable to some extent by having to tell my channel what I've done and what I haven't done as far as my writing goes, and that's been helping me out a great deal. So I haven't done my quarterly, weekly, and monthly goals yet. So I think that's something I need to do today. All right, so I am currently on page 197 of 222, which means I have 25 pages left. I've done a lot of that editing today. Getting caught up and then being able to actually sit down and focus in a new place has been hard. I'm usually really able to kind of work wherever I am, but with the having moved, one of the things that keeps happening is that I find something else to do. So, you know, I'll be like, oh, I need to edit, and I'll sit down and I'll get a pen in my hand, and then I'm like, I should put that box away. And then I'm like, oh, those books need to go on that bookshelf. And so I just keep coming up with ways to derail my working. Most of that stuff is already taken care of at this point. So I'm running out of things to supplement my time with that are other than what I'm supposed to be doing, which is editing. So I'm hoping that this week I can get these 25 pages done. By the end of the month, I need to get them in. And by February 1st, I need to be working on Hell's Bend. So those are my overall goals. You probably can see my eye is leaking. It's running all the time. Apparently my eyes are really dry, and my eye doctor doesn't think I probably should wear contacts, but I can't stand glasses. They are the most uncomfortable thing ever. So if it looks like this part of me is crying, it's not that I'm upset, it's that my eyeball is nuts. So yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I keep trying to like moisten my eyes, and I wear my contacts for like exactly 8 hours a day and things like that. So I'm hoping that'll even out a little bit and it'll be less of a problem, but I can feel it going now. So I apologize if it looks like I'm a big crybaby in this video. I'm not upset. So yeah, the cats are enjoying the new place. That's pretty exciting. However, it's becoming more obvious to me how much attention other people in our house were giving the cats, because they want all of it from me now. So every night I have about an hour where I literally can do nothing except for cuddle cats. And unfortunately, that's not the kind of thing that you can just like, okay, from 5 to 6, I'm going to cuddle the cats, because the cats want cuddling when they want to. If it's 7:04 and I'm in the middle of editing, it doesn't matter. I did post a picture earlier today on Instagram where I'm trying to edit with my right hand, and Mr. Crowley will not let me put him down, so he's laying here up over my shoulder. And I'd try to edit and write, except he'd either lay across the paper as I tried to write, or the paper would move because I didn't have another hand to anchor the paper at all. And I write sideways. So like I literally have the paper in front of me like this when I write. So it's an awkward position already. But Mr. Crowley was not helping me any. So that's part of the reason I didn't get more done. The section I'm about to start on is 2 pages long, and then after that I think the rest of the book is the next section. There might be one little section at the end, but it's pretty darn close to the rest of the book. Oh yeah, it looks like it's about 16 pages of the rest of the book, and then there's a couple littler sections at the wrap up. So but yeah, I mean, I try not to stop in between sections, so that's where the hardest part comes in, is that I have to have enough time to edit 16 pages or whatever it ends up being at one time in order to be certain that it's flowing together. I prefer, like, if I do a short story, I always edit it from start to finish in a sitting. I will occasionally reread it in sections for whatever reason. For instance, in Suggestion 376, I have a story called Shattered, and at one point I actually, because of the way that story is laid out, I actually cut each section of the story apart, put each section of the story in a linear manner, and then reread them that way to make sure that they lined up. So I mean, there's other things I do with them, but I do like for my overall edits to be one sitting. That's just not reasonable with 200 pages. Especially not like when I'm having a hard edit and like I'm rewriting whole sections and stuff like that. Both Boys and Hell's Bend are beyond that being a primary problem. I'm not sitting down and rewriting major sections of it, and I'm certainly not doing that repeatedly. But I do have some rewrites. Usually it's like a paragraph. Paragraph is way easier to manage. So I like to edit in one sitting. Sometimes it's hard to get back into it because I don't like to edit for 20 minutes and then pick up and go. I like to sit down and do a large chunk of editing. As far as in my new space goes, I'm more able to decide when that's going to happen, but I've been letting myself get sidetracked entirely because I know that there's other stuff I could be doing. You know, I mean, we still have boxes out in the kitchen. I still have some boxes in that closet behind me. We're going to pretend they're not there for now because out of sight, out of mind and all that jazz. But, you know, we've also been trying to kind of get the place cleaned up, you know, moving in, and the last lady wasn't exactly the cleanest. So like things like floorboards weren't washed and things like that. And I'm back. I got a phone call, and when you record on your phone, that puts a damper on the recording situation. So anyway, yeah, so that's my monthly goal is to get this edit in the computer totally done. I won't have to think about Boys again for at least 30 days. My quarterly goal is to, let's see, we're looking quarterly March. I should be able to finish Hell's Bend in 2 months. I should. It shouldn't be that difficult. All in all, last I recall, it was pretty well put together, and the plot itself and the story itself wasn't an issue. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of that adverbs useless, and she just said that 2 sentences ago. She doesn't need to say that again, those kinds of things, which is, it's easier, but it can be more tedious. So it can feel more annoying to do that. But you know, I'll make it work. It's not the end of the world. And I really like the story in Hell's Bend. I like the story in Boys too. I really feel like these stories are worth telling. And so that does make it easier to do the kind of editing that is unpleasant. But, you know, I mean, at the same time, it's still the part of the job I like the least. But, you know, it's part of the job I like the least, but it's also part of the job. And it's the least pleasant part of my favorite thing to do. So, you know, I mean, I've played basketball and I hated running up and down the court for no freaking reason. Just dribbling a ball, like that was really obnoxious, but that was part of training to do it. So you can dislike a part of it and still understand that it's part of the greater thing that you're doing. So it's worth it. It's just a matter of me getting myself to do it. So yeah, that's about it. So, and then my weekly goal is just to get this done. Like the actual edit, 25 pages shouldn't be that hard to do. And hey, maybe I can get ahead of myself and actually get it in the computer. 200 pages sounds like a whole lot to put into the computer, but I actually type really, really fast. And then, you know, there's spell checkers. So, because the faster I type, the more errors I do make. That's just, I think that's probably normal. But I do, I do type really fast, and especially when I'm just kind of following along and just putting in information. And I do reread it as I'm doing it, but this edit is going to be less of that because of the nature of this edit, because this edit is much more cut that line, add this line stuff. So I don't think that's as much of a problem. But yeah, I think where I'm at right now, I think the next edit on this book is probably going to be a much faster edit. It's probably going to be a much more blanket kind of, this doesn't agree with that, or this is repetitive, or those kinds of things. I do hope I get it down to write about 200 pages, you know, on 8.5 by 11 paper, the typical paper. But that doesn't translate exactly into the book itself. So, yeah, but that'll put me right at about 50,000 words, I think. And that'll be functional. I don't want this to come out and for me to later say like, oh, I wish I would have taken another pass on it or whatever. You know, I mean, you can only regret things so much without just feeling like shit about them. So I don't want to regret the basic things about this. You know, it's one thing if you're like, oh crap, page 302 has this error on it. That's different. Typos are a thing. I read, you know, lots of mainstream books, like Stephen King books have typos in them, and those go through quite a lot of editing, and they are also, you know, put out by a huge publisher, but they still have a typo. And so I'm not worried about the typos. I am worried about little problems, you know, a double period somewhere, things like that are really problematic, and just really look like you didn't take enough time. And I don't want people to read my stuff and think that I didn't take enough time. I recently, I'm using that loosely, read an independent author who I had engaged on Twitter, and I liked the book that I read. I don't want to mention her here, partly because I don't want to come across as though I'm being negative toward her, because the story itself wasn't the problem, but the formatting on the actual page was different in the middle of it than it was in the rest of it. Like the spaces between the lines changed, and the actual justification on the sides changed. It was very strange. But there was no contextual reason. It wasn't like this flashback is laid out different or anything like that. So it was really difficult to actually focus on what was written there, because the formatting was so off-putting. And I don't want to do that to my readers, and I certainly don't want people to think that my goal is to put out as much crap as possible so that people accidentally buy my crap. That's not my goal at all. My goal is that if I have 10 readers, those 10 readers enjoy my stuff. That if I have 5 million readers, those 5 million readers enjoy my stuff. I don't want to set my goals on numbers and bringing in money and all that, because that's not what this is about. If that's what this was about, I would write what other people wanted me to write. You know, I wouldn't be a 35-year-old woman who works in a law office and writes horror during the day. I would be writing romance novels and putting them out one after another, so that, you know, the masses who don't care about that stuff can just purchase it and I can just take their money. I'm just not like that. That's not my interest. If I wanted to just put out garbage, I could just put out garbage. So my goal is to make sure that it doesn't look like I'm okay with putting out garbage. So that's kind of where that's at. But yeah, so I think that's about all I've got for this week. I don't know for sure when I'm going to get back to actually like baseline writing. I'm hoping after Hellsbend, I'll be able to take a little break and write something. I'd like to write a couple short things. I really do like having short stories out. I have 2 right now that are available. One's free and one's like 50 cents, I believe. And those are both available on my drive-through, which will be down below in the comments box. And I believe Safe Places, which is the one that is paid, is going to have a coupon coming out on Tuesday. It'll be on the Plastic Age Productions Facebook page, but I'm also going to share it on all my social media. But it'll be a coupon to get it for like $0.25 instead of 50 cents. Those links will be in the info box below. My Twitter, it's Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat will also be on there, and that's at Wordsmithsarah for all three. You can follow me on all three. I do post more to Twitter and Instagram than I do to Snapchat, but Snapchat's silly, so I post some silly stuff on my Snapchat too. If you're interested in the cats, I don't post Snapchat on the cats because I only play with Snapchat to play with filters because I'm a child. So that's that. Anyway, so I guess I'll see you guys next week. Go ahead and feel free to leave a comment below, like and subscribe, and, if you haven't seen my other videos, please go ahead and watch. I'll make sure there's, links and flashy things all around here. So have a great week, and I will see you next week. Bye!